The truth about money isn't clean, and it's rarely honest. On this channel, we dive into the grimiest, weirdest, darkest ways people make a living, from crime scene cleaners to human guinea pigs, sugar coaching to graveyard shift spies. These jobs are real. Some are legal. Some barely. But all of them will leave you asking, would I do this for cash? And it is at this point in your doubts that I come, who first had the balls to try them out, and then made sure to answer your dark thoughts about the strange and nasty ways to make money. Today's episode will talk about a man who had no money for 2 years, so he signed up for a dubious, nasty job. His story is from 4chan, so enjoy. It wasn't the job I'd planned for. After getting laid off from my warehouse gig, the bills piled up fast. That's when a friend told me about a temp agency looking for night shift security at the Green Hollow County Morgue. The pay was solid. Minimal duties. Mostly sitting in the front office, watching security monitors, doing rounds every couple hours. Simple. But nobody keeps a job like that for long. The man who interviewed me, a pale, twitchy guy named Mr. Canfield, looked at me like I was a desperate fool when I said yes. You understand this is the night shift, he asked slowly. I like nights, I lied. Quiet. Peaceful. Canfield leaned in. It's not a normal place. People say things. Like what? I smirked. He didn't answer. Just handed me the keys, codes, and a thin pamphlet that looked like a mini training manual. But the last page caught my eye. In bold. The morgue was on the outskirts of town, surrounded by fields and dead trees. The building was concrete and windowless, humming with the sound of old air conditioning and fluorescent lights. Inside was even colder, always around 50 degrees Fahrenheit. They said it helped preserve the bodies. I settled into the front office with coffee, checked the 6 old security monitors, and flipped through my paperback. But around 2:17 a.m., something flickered on the screen. Movement in the hall near the body lockers. I leaned in. Just static. I tapped the monitor. Then came a sound, tap 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 on the wall behind me. Light. Precise. I whipped around. Empty hallway. Dead silence. At 3 a.m., I did my first walkthrough. The building had 3 sections: admin offices, autopsy suites, and the cold chamber vault. Long, tiled hallways. Harsh lights that buzzed and flickered. Each room colder than the last. The cold chambers were long steel drawers, each labeled with a black number. Most had red tags, unclaimed. When I passed chamber B17, I stopped. The label was peeling. Someone had drawn a crude X across it in red marker. A low, metallic clink sounded from within. I stepped back. On night 3, curiosity got the better of me. I snuck into the archives room, a dusty library of folders. I found the B-section logbooks. B17, John Doe. Date of arrival, March 1997. Notes: refuses autopsy. Refuses? In the margin, someone had scribbled. Body temp inconsistent. Weight fluctuation noted. No decomposition after 14 weeks. Unresponsive to embalming fluid. I slammed the book shut. It was exactly 3:33 a.m. I had just poured another cup of stale coffee when the main hallway lights went out. The backup lights hummed to life in eerie red. On the monitors, something moved. Not walked, moved. Like a flicker between frames. A blur that warped the air around it. Then, bang 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 from chamber B17. Not taps. Fists. I grabbed the radio. Static. My phone? Dead. Literally no signal. Then came the click. A soft, metallic hiss. The sound of a latch opening. I ran. Down the hallway, breath frosting in front of me. I turned the corner, and the chamber drawer of B17 was open. Not all the way. Just a few inches. A faint mist poured from inside. I inched closer. Inside was no body. Just an empty white sheet, soaked in a dark gray fluid. A shape, handprint-like, was smeared on the metal wall of the chamber from the inside. And then, footsteps behind me. Slow. Wet. I quit the next day. Didn't even pick up my paycheck. Weeks later, I tried to find the morgue again. Thought maybe I hallucinated it all. Maybe it was sleep deprivation or a breakdown. But the road it was on? Doesn't exist anymore. Literally not on any GPS, no city records. I even drove for hours out to where I remembered it being nothing but grass fields and dead trees. Until one night I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside was a photo. Me, standing in the hallway. Behind me? Drawer B17. Wide open. And two gray hands reaching out. I quit the next day. Didn't even pick up my paycheck. Weeks later, I tried to find the morgue again. Thought maybe I hallucinated it all. Maybe it was sleep deprivation or a breakdown. But the road it was on? Doesn't exist anymore. Literally not on any GPS, no city records. I even drove for hours out to where I remembered it being nothing but grass fields and dead trees. Until one night I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside was a photo. Me, standing in the hallway. Behind me? Drawer B17. Wide open. And two gray hands reaching out. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a story that once inspired me to do something similar, thinking that such nasty, disgusting job can't possibly end up being scam. And that for such tasks, people generally don't need connections and can hire absolutely anyone they want. But for your surprise, even graveyard jobs can be scam. I thought I'd found something weird, but decent, a night shift at a local graveyard. The ad said, night watch, $500 per week, no experience needed. I was broke, desperate, and, honestly, a little curious. It sounded spooky, but kind of simple. Just check the grounds, log any disturbances, keep a flashlight handy. No background checks, no interview, just a short phone call with a guy. He said the last person bailed and he needed someone tonight. That should have been my first red flag. But I ignored the pit in my stomach and said yes. The first night was uneventful. I walked the grounds with a cheap walkie-talkie they gave me. At 3 a.m., someone radioed in to tell me to check plot 9 because of a sensor trip. There was nothing there. Still, I logged it as they told me to do. By the third night, they asked me to take photos of headstones and send them to a number via WhatsApp. Just for our records, they said. Some of them had strange markings, almost like carvings that didn't belong. One night I asked about them and they told me not to worry, that locals do that stuff sometimes. By the fifth night, they had me digging small holes to check for animal disturbances. I started to feel uneasy. No proper uniforms, no employee ID, no real way to contact anyone other than Keller. They never gave me a direct company name, just Gravewatch Security. The seventh night, I came to work and the gate was padlocked. No message. Keller's number was disconnected. The WhatsApp account was deleted. I drove home in a fog, confused, and sick to my stomach. I never got paid. Later, I talked to a groundskeeper from a nearby cemetery. He laughed, not cruelly, but like he'd heard it before. Scam artists get kids to do the dirty work, he said. Sometimes they're testing grave sites for illegal relic sales, or just trying to get people to unknowingly desecrate property. That's when it hit me. They used me. I'd spent a week unknowingly helping with whatever scheme they were running. Maybe grave robbing, maybe paranormal fakery, maybe something worse. And I got nothing. No pay. No answers. Just a cold memory of walking between gravestones with a shovel in my hand and no idea what I was really doing.